In this video, I'm going to talk about environment group. Environment group is a new feature available within the Power Platform Admin Center. It's currently in preview, but then over a period of time, this will be converted into a generally available feature. Now, what is an environment group? Now, as you see over here in the diagram, environment group consists of environment. So, an environment group can contain one or more environment. Now, the purpose of environment group is it provides a structure for the environments in your tenant. Now, it is predominantly useful for the enterprise IT teams. Now, if you have one or two or three environment, then this may will not make much sense. But if you have a scaled environment, if you have an environment ranging from 100 to 1000, then this will start adding value. Having said that, this basically solves the problem of having a scaled environment. Now, with this environment group, an admin can actually uh, consolidate all your environment into different buckets. Now, the buckets can be, I'll call this as a structure basically. Now, the structure can be set as per the project, or maybe location, or department, or business unit, or geography, or maybe personal productivity, or maybe you can classify into dev, UI, test, stage, prototype. Or if your environment has different admin users, then you can have a different environment for different admins who are managing your basic tenants. Okay, so just to give an example, if you have an office in say multiple countries, and every location has its own set of compliance and regulatory requirements, then you can segregate your environment in such a fashion. Okay, now why this is important is because it gives you a basic structure. It sets some set of governance and compliance policies for your environment. Now, this is closely related to the managed environment, and I'll talk about more from the managed environment perspective in my upcoming slide. But admin can apply rules to the environment groups. As you see here, environment group consists of various rules. Okay, now the bulk management of rules are made easy by utilizing environment groups. What does this rules contain? It helps in basically maintaining the legal compliance and regulatory requirements. Now, as this is in preview, there are few set of rules currently available, but over a period of time, Microsoft is going to add more rules in this particular feature set. Now, it brings consistency and standardization while managing environments at scale. Okay, so what happens is, like, if your environment if you want to make your environment consistent, like say if you come up with a policy that every solution which goes within this environment needs to have a solution checker enforced, then you need not make those setting in each and every environment. What you need to do is, like, you create an environment group, assign those set of rules that solution checker should be made mandatory, and then all those environment who belongs to that environment group will follow that policy. Now, it helps set of consistency. Okay, so consistency, standardization. Rules are based on managed environment feature set. So whatever feature is available for the managed environment, slowly you're going to see that in the managed environment, uh, in the environment group functionality, which are closely related to the managed environment feature, which I'm going to demonstrate it to you in some time. Currently, there are six rules, and this will keep on growing in the coming years. Environment can belong to only one environment group. So an environment group can contain, say, take for example, say five environment. Okay, example. Now, those five environment can not be added into any other environment group. Environment group houses only managed environment. So if your environment is managed, then it makes sense to be part of that environment group. With unmanaged environment, you cannot add into the environment group. Environment group can host developer, sandbox, production type of environment. When an environment is removed from the environment group, it retains its configuration. What does that means is, like, take for example, if you uh, create an environment group, you enforce a set of standards based on the properties set in the environment group, and tomorrow you decide that, hey, I don't want that environment to be part of that environment group. Now the policy has already been set. The moment you remove the environment from environment group, then the policy will still be there, but then now it is open. Now you can go ahead and make that changes in that environment. So these are usually done if you divert from your standard consistency feature set, and if you decide that I don't want to apply those environment group related functionality, then you can go ahead and remove it. But make sure that before you remove it, uh, uh, all the existing settings will still apply, but then after that point onwards, those settings will go away as you start customizing your environment feature set. Now, environment group rules. Now, what are those rules? So, this is how the rules will look like. On the left hand side in Power Platform Admin Center, you'll see an environment group and you will see all the rule set. Now, there are around six rule set, which I'm going to cover in the demo. Now, one example would be, say, sharing controls for Canvas apps. So, you can limit how broadly your resources can be shared. So, this is one of the rules. So, once you enable this, once you publish this, then this environment group will have those rules defined, and any environment belonging to that environment group will follow that feature set. Okay, so this is an environment group Asia Pacific, and if I add five environment in this, then all the five environment will have that sharing controls enabled provided I publish those changes. Okay, now, what are the different environment group rules? Is one is sharing controls for Canvas app. So you can limit sharing controls for Canvas app. So you can decide how many users can be Canvas app be shared with. Usage insights, you can actually see how the applications are being used, who uses it, at what time they uses it, and what are the different parameters through which those usage insights statistics can be captured. Make a welcome content. This is all about welcoming your user for the environment and then giving some sort of instructions or hyperlink or content for them to basically get guided through the journey of utilizing and maintaining those environment. Solution checker enforcement, it's all about um, getting your solution always checked before you even upload that solution within your environment. Now, there are multiple ways through which you can upload the solution, and also the solution checker can have various settings that either you block the solution completely, or you get a warning, or you do not allow that solution checker enforcement come in your way of uploading the solution. Then there is a backup retention policy: 7 days, 14 days, 28 days, how long you want the backup to be present for your environment. And the sixth one is the AI generated description. So if you create a model driven app or a Canvas app, and if you forget to add the description, or if you don't know what to put the description for that particular app, then artificial intelligence will help you generate those descriptions. Now, if you look into all the six feature set, this is all the feature set which is provided by the managed environment. So what Microsoft is doing is, like, Microsoft has created this container called as environment group, which allows you to containerize basically all the environment belonging to that same specific set. So it is like putting a category around those managed environments. Okay, so environment group will house only environment which are managed environment, and out of that managed environment, the sixth functionality which is currently available out of the box, which will eventually grow, will allow the user to have those consistency and standardization across all the environment group. Now, how do you create that? You click on new group, and then you create an environment group. And then once the environment group is created, any new environment you create, it can be assigned to that environment group. Now, here there are some samples which I have created. Here you can see that I've created so many environment depending on various structure, like one is based on geography, like Asia Pacific. Then there is a government or non-government or commercial projects, or personal productivity related environment, or geolocation environment, or environment based on different types like UAT, dev, production. And Against an environment, you will see how many rules are applied. Now if you see over here, these are set of environments groups which are already created, but there are no environments attached to it, but there are rules which will get enforced once those environment gets provisioned. How do you assign an environment to environment group? Now, in the screen, as you see over here, once you create a new environment, you can select the environment group which has been already been created. And once that environment is created, environment groups get assigned. And depending on your configuration, those particular published rule will get enforced. Now, environment group rules. Now, these are the different six rules which we talked about. Solution checker enforcement, whereby we can check if a solution is uploaded within that environment. I can either mark nothing to happen, I just warn it, or I completely block if there are any security and reliability issue have been found during the import process. I have an ability to send emails when a solution is blocked as well. Now, sharing controls for Canvas apps, I can either set a limit, or I can don't set a limit, or I can exclude sharing with the security group. From a backup retention perspective, I can set up a backup retention policy of 7 days, 14 days, 21 days, or 28 days. Now it all depends on what kind of environments and what kind of application exists. Now if it is a Dynamics 365 application and production environment, then that will have a 28 days of default backup retention. And for all other non-production environment, the default backup retention period is 7 days, regardless of whatever setting you set. Make a welcome content, again, it's a simple text uh, you can place around, uh, so that you use that as a communication tool to welcome your makers within that environment. Usage insights, configuring all the insights for the managed environment in the group. And it will also provide you a weekly digest of how the applications are utilized, whether the application is utilized or not, used or not, who is using it, and what are the count for that. Enable AI generated description, generating automatic description for all the Canvas apps and model driven apps within your environment. Publish rules. Now you can create like there are many rules, like there are six rules currently in the system, but those rules are not enforced. So what you need to do, you need to open individual rule, and then you need to publish those. So as you see over here, usage insights rule is configured. Sharing control for Canvas apps is not published. So that means someone has to actually go here, sharing controls for Canvas app, open it, and then set some value, and then click on publish. Once that is done, that rule will get enforced within your environment group. As you see over here, these are some set of rules which are published. Okay. Now here, there are three states. One is initially it will be not published, then you can make some changes, then it will come as configured. And the third one is once you publish this, the rules will be published, and then it may take a few minutes for your environment to update. So make sure that you give sufficient time before your rule gets enforced for all the environments for that environment group. Now, just to go into the demo part, let me show you how it looks like. Now, I'm in the Power Platform Admin Center, so these are the some set of environments for me. Now, as I told you that if your environment grows beyond 100,000, then it will be very difficult to manage within the screen. Okay, just think about it. Like if you have hundreds of environment, there will be an infinite scroll. Okay, and how do we categorize? How do we group it? Now, this happens with all the enterprise tenants, which has more than hundreds of environment. Then this functionality will come helpful. Now here in environment group, what we can do is we can create our own group. Okay, so take for example, if I create a group called as say US commercial compliance project. Okay, so take for example, if this is my group. Now this particular environment group will house all US commercial based projects. So it houses US commercial projects which has strict compliance need. Okay, so this is the description which I have provided, and I'm pretty much happy that Microsoft has made this field as mandatory, because usually we don't put in the description field and then at the end we failed to identify what was the purpose of that environment group. So this is a good welcome feature set from Microsoft to make the description field mandatory. You save those group, and then once this group is created, the next step what you need to do is you need to start enforcing those rules. Okay, now as you see over here, there are six set of rules which are not yet published. So take for example, if I click on usage insights. Now let me say I want to see all the insights for the managed environment in this group. I'll include insights for all managed environments in this group in the weekly email digest, and I'll click on save. The moment I do that, it will come as configured. Okay, similarly I can go ahead and maybe I'll say exclude sharing with security group and limit to only 5 users this app. I'll click on save. And then I'll put a backup retention of 21 days, and I'll say enable AI generated descriptions. I'll say put make a welcome content, hello to the compliance, make sure you follow the guidelines. You can put whatever text you want, and then you can even put the hyperlink. Okay, so hyperlink to look for people to refer to the content. I'll just put my website link, and I can even see the preview. So if I click on see preview, I can see how this will look to the maker when they first start accessing this environment. So this is good for me. I'll just click on save. Now, as you see here, I have configured 5 rules. Okay, solution checker enforcement. This is the fifth one. I'll say if any solution checker, if anyone uploads a solution which has a security and reliability issue, then I don't want that solution to come in. I'll just block it. I'll click on send emails only when a solution is blocked, and I'll click on save. So this is how I have configured all the rule set within the environment group. Now, this is not sufficient. What you need to do, you need to start publishing those rules. So I can come here, and then I'll click on publish rules. So the moment I click on publish rules, it will start publishing the rules, and it will say that, oh, I have published the rules and this is the date when it was published. Now, just to make a note, rules have been published. It may take a few minutes for your environment to update. Okay, so that change will not be instantaneous. Now, as you see over here, there is no environment within this environment group. So just come one step back. Here we will see the environment group which we have created, and here you will see the rules. There are 6 rules which are enforced. This was created today, and it was created by me. Now what I can do, how do I assign an environment to an environment group, is like if I click on new environment, then here say take for example I'm just calling this us comp. So this is my environment. Okay, now here I can see the group. I can easily assign the group US Commercial Compliance Project. This is the environment group which this belongs to, and then I can pick up whatever region I want, and then I can say it's a sandbox or a trial or any environment. So take for example, if I just put it as a trial environment, and let's see what happens. So this will tell you that hey, these are the settings you need to follow. So maybe I'll just put a security group. I'll say it's a restricted access environment, and then I can start provisioning it. Now actually, as I have more than 2 trial environments, it is not allowing me to create. But then if it is a production environment or sandbox, then it will allow me to create those environments. So this is how you basically assign an environment to an environment group. Coming back to environment group, here there is something called as environment routing. Now what is this is, if I click on environment routing, then it says direct new Power Apps Maker into their own personal developer environment. I've turned this setting on. Create personal developer environment for Maker, and I'll assign the environment routing based on some environment group settings. Okay. So what does that mean is, now how we have created this environment group, we can create one more environment group, and I'll call this as uh, all Girish INC users personal productivity. Okay. Now, this group, will follow all guidelines for newly created dev environment for staff. So what does this mean is like any new developer environment which gets provisioned by an end user, like if I've enabled environment routing, then this will follow this particular environment group functionality. Okay, so let me show you that. So I have created one environment group, and let's say I just configure some of the rules. Okay, so I'll say any developer environment should not be able to share beyond maybe two users, and they should exclude sharing with the security group, and this is what the rule which have been configured for all the productivity environment. So that means all the developer environment which will get provision will automatically come under that rule. Okay, so if I click here environment routing, then here I'll say direct new power apps maker into their own personal developer environment and put all the personal developer environment into this particular bucket. Okay, and I'll just click on save. So what happens is like any new developer environment, so take for example if say Karen or Lisa or Laura creates an environment or developer environment, then those particular environment will fall in this environment group, which is all Girish and uses personal productivity, and they will automatically getting those rules enforced. So this is also a nice way to have those governance layer around your developer environment, so that the developer does not uh, 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 developer does follow some set of rules or guidelines provided by the managed environment. So that's it, folks. This is all about environment group. It is currently in preview state, so you should not use in production kind of a scenario. You can play around with it, but over a period of time, this will start getting more refined, and more set of rules will be available in this particular environment groups. And also, you can add all the newly created environment within this particular environment group. So it's a nice little feature to use. Thanks for watching.